So if you've been watching my videos recently, you might have seen that I'm getting a little bit further into the Tonex modeling world. And I picked up a few of the Amalgam tone model packs for some of my favorite amps. So I got a whole set of two rock amps that I did a video comparison of just a little while back. And today one I wanted to look at was the King Imperial tone captures. Now this is one of my favorite capture packs that I have in my quad Cortex from Amalgam. And so I wanted to try them out on the Tonex and then maybe do a comparison between how they sound on my Tonex versus how they sound on my Nano Cortex. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a direct comparison of some of my favorite tones from those packs and try to compare how do they sound on each device. So what we're going to do is focus on four key tones: a clean tone, an edge of breakup, kind of a crunch rhythm tone, and then whatever lead tone we can get out of it. So if we start by looking at the tone model pack, you can see here we've got the King Imperial Mark II, and we've got 30 DI tones in here. So that's something I'll say is I always go for the DI packs, and then I can use my own IR with them. So for all of these tones, we're going to use one of my favorite 2x12 IRs from Amalgam. It's actually from the free pack. It's a Fender 2x12 with G12s in there. So we've got 30 tone models for Tonex, and for the capture pack, we've got 60 DI captures. If we look at what's in each pack, I'm going to talk about the specific tones I'm going to test out for each of those four levels of gain. So for the clean tone, we're going to use the clean balance capture, rhythm channel, volumes at 4, trebles at 7.5, basses at 4. If we go look at the Tonex model for the rhythm channel clean balanced, volumes at 4, trebles at 7.5, basses at 4.5. So there's a little more bass on the tone model than on the capture, but they should be pretty close. And then for the edge of breakup, we're going to use the edge balance, and we're at volume 6, treble 7.5, basses 4 on the tone model. For the capture, we've got volume at 6, 7.5, basses at 3. So again, a little more bass on the tone model, where this is basses at 4. On the capture, the bass is at 3. For the crunch, again, we're going to stick to the rhythm channel. We're using the balanced 7.5, 7.5, and 3. If we go look at the tone model, crunch, balanced, 7.5, 7.5, and 3. So those are exactly the same. And then for the lead tones, we are actually using the lead channel, lead balanced, and volumes at 6, tones at 7.5, bytes at 2.5. And on the Tonex, volumes at 6, tones at 7.5, bytes at 2.5. So those settings are exactly the same as well. So I'm expecting that these should sound pretty identical. You know, we don't want them to sound different. The captures and the tone models should work exactly the same. It's the same amp. I think it's actually physically the same amp. And it's basically the same setting, so they should sound very similar. Before we jump in, just a quick reminder, hit the like button, leave a comment. Those kinds of things really help small channels like mine. If you like this video or any of my other videos, consider subscribing. And if you're looking to buy the Nano Cortex, there's a Sweetwater affiliate link in the description. If you could use that, it would really help the channel out as well. Thanks. Okay, so let's hear how they sound. So for this demo, I've got my Tonex hooked up to my Exonic AirStep, which is a kind of a extension device that also includes a mobile app with it. So I'll put the app on the screen here, and you can see it lets me kind of control, and we can see what preset I'm on. So I've got the 4 King Imperial presets: clean, edge, crunch, and lead. And then on the Nano Cortex, I have my app here as well, and you can see we got our clean, edge, crunch, and lead. So all of these are running through this Fender 2x12 G12 IR, and I have all the effects off, except I do have a little bit of hall reverb on each of them. I try to keep the reverb basically exactly the same, just for a little bit of ambience. But let's go ahead and hear how they sound, and we'll start on the Nano since we're here. And what I'm doing is I'm running these through an AB box so I can switch quickly between the two of them. So let's go ahead and hear how it sounds. So this is the clean tone on the Nano. switch to the Tonex. And the other thing I'll say is I'm keeping the gain exactly flat on all of these. So we're not pushing the gain at all. We're not tweaking the EQ for any of the captures. So they sound pretty similar. Again, here's the Nano. And here's the Tonex. They sound very similar. Maybe the Tonex, you can hear a little bit of that extra bass that we saw in the settings, but overall, they sound pretty much exactly the same, which is what we would expect. So let's go ahead and switch to the edge of Breakup, and we're on the Tonex. And if we switch to the, go to the edge. Again, back to the Tonex. And they do sound a little bit different. I feel like the Tonex has a little more kind of top end grit to it, whereas the Nano seems to have a little bit more of a low end kind of grit. Again, here's the Tonex. But again, still pretty close. Let's move on to the crunch. And here we're going to go to the bridge pickup and just do a little bit of a rhythm. Here's the Nano. We'll switch to the Tonex here. Again, back to the Nano. Again, I feel like the Tonex has like a little bit maybe a little less gain, a little bit less low end. So this is the Nano. And here's the Tonex. So again, really close, just subtle differences. But I think generally it seems like the Tonex is trending with maybe a little more top end to it. Maybe a little clearer because of that. Whereas the Nano feels like it's a little bit more kind of in a lower EQ range and maybe has a little more grit to it. But let's go ahead and switch to the lead stuff. And this time we'll start with the Tonex. So this is the lead channel of the Imperial, and it's a balanced lead. we switch to the Nano. I think it's even more pronounced here. I think that the Tonex is a lot more top-end heavy. Go to the neck pick. And then here's the Nano. So definitely, I think they're starting to sound a little bit different. Like the more grit you add, the more different they start to sound. So I want to do something interesting here. What I'm going to do is we're going to use them both together, and I'm going to pan them hard left and right. Because one thing I notice is when you use these things together, if they sound very similar and you pan them hard left and right, it just sounds like 1 amp. Versus if they start to sound different, you start to hear that spread, and like you can hear 2 different amps. So here's the clean tone. And again, this is both of them together, panned hard left, which is the Nano, and hard right, which is the Tonex. Let's go ahead and do the edge of Breakup. The crunch, and we'll do maybe an in-between position. And now we'll do the leads. Overall, they sound really similar, and I think that's what we expected, right? It was interesting to hear that as we added more gain, it felt like the Tonex had a little more top end to it, was a little clearer. It felt like the Nano maybe was a little beefier, but because of that, it was losing a little bit of clarity. So it's interesting. I don't know if that's a difference in the way the captures were made, or is that inherent in the devices. My guess would be that's just about the captures. Like I said, we're using the same exact IR. I think the captures are the same exact amp I would expect. I don't think that Amalgam has multiple King Imperials from 2022. So I think there might be some slight changes in the way the captures were made. Obviously, different days, different people. You can try to have the settings the same, but it's an analog dial. Slight differences. Maybe you can't see them. It looks like 7.5, but maybe it's 7.4 or 7.3 or something like that. You're going to hear some slight differences, but generally they sound very, very similar. I think it was just interesting to hear that they are not exactly 100% the same. So it'll be interesting to see going forward as I do this more, if that same dynamic plays out in other captures. So I actually have a car Mercury capture that I have on both. So maybe in the next video, I'll try comparing those and we'll see if we get the same thing. So I hope you found this interesting. And as always, thanks for watching.